We are live. Hi everyone, welcome back to Codera. Today we will discuss the LeetCode daily challenge for 20th of December. That is minimum absolute difference, and the problem is rated as easy. And I'll just wait for a couple of minutes for everyone else to join in, and then we'll begin with the discussion for this problem. So all those who have joined the live stream, please kindly give a +1 in the chat if my voice is audible and everything else is working fine. So in this problem, minimum absolute difference, you will be given an array which will be of distinct integers, and you have to find all the pair of elements with minimum absolute difference of any two elements, right? So I'll just wait for a couple of minutes for everyone else to join in, and then we'll begin. So all those who have joined the chat, please quickly give me a +1 in the chat and like the video if you haven't done that, so that we can begin ahead with the problem. And also all those who have solved this problem, they can just write what was their approach while solving this problem. Hi Ankit Yadav. Okay, so in this problem you have been given, so let's start with the problem. So it says that you have been given an array which is consisting of distinct integers. So all the elements in the array are distinct, and you have to find all pair of elements which are having the minimum absolute difference, okay, of any two elements, right? So you'll be in the end you will be returning a list of pairs in which you'll be giving a pair a comma b such that a is less than b and a and b both are from the array, and b minus a is the minimum absolute difference that can be present in the array, right? Let's suppose that you have this array that is 4, 2, 1 and 3, right? If you have this array that is 4, 2, 1 and 3, so in this array if you will see, so what is the minimum difference? If you will look at the difference between 4 minus 2, that gives me 2, 4 minus 1 gives me 3, 4 minus 3 gives me 1. So I can see that up till now the difference is 1. Let's say 2 minus 1, so this gives me what? 2 minus 1 will give me nothing but 1. After that, what will happen? Let's say I do a 3 minus 2, so 3 minus 2 gives me 1 again. Let's say I do a 3 minus 1, so that gives me 2. So you can see that among all the differences, the difference that I am getting is the minimum difference is nothing but 1, right? So I can see that the minimum difference is 1. So what I can do is I can generate all the pairs in this given list, in this given array, and after that I can check that which are the elements that are having the minimum difference, right? How I can do that? So for this I can apply a brute force approach. Basically for this I can apply a brute force approach, that is I can start from 0 and I is less than n, I plus plus. After that what I'll be doing is I'll be having a minimum that will be initialized to, let's say, int max or infinity, right? After that what I can do is my j starts from I, and j is less equal to I plus 1, right? It will run up till here, right? And my I will be less than n minus 1, right? And j plus plus, that means the two elements. Or you can say, let's say j is lesser than I plus 1, okay? Only this part you can do. Now what will happen? What is the difference? So the current difference that I'll be having is nothing but the absolute difference of a of j minus a of j plus 1, right? So the current two elements, right, in the array. After that what I can do is I can store the minimum. And once I have stored the minimum, so I can check that what is the minimum, whether the current difference is the minimum or my mi is the minimum, right? So in this way I can find. But for if I am running two loops, then the time complexity for my approach would be order of n square, right? Why it would be order of n square? Because it will be order of n square, because for every element, let's say it was 4, 2, 1 and 3. So for this element 4, I am checking it with this 2, with this 1, and with this 3. Then I'm checking this 2 with this 1 and with this 3, right? Then I'm checking this 1 with this 3, right? So in this way I'm trying to do it. So this seems a little bit complex, right? So why? Because for every element you are checking with every other element that lies ahead of it in terms of indexes. So that is why this will be order of n square, right? Because you are generating all the possible pairs, right? Because you are generating all the possible pairs, and then you are checking the what is the minimum, and after that what you are doing is, after that you will be running an order of n square loop again to check which are the elements which are having absolute difference of a of j minus a of j plus 1 as equal to minimum that I've seen, minimum difference, and then I'll keep on storing them in a as pairs, right, in a list or a vector, right. But this approach will give me a time limit exceeded considering the given constraints for n. So what I can do instead is, instead of doing this, let's say the number is something like this. Let's say if it is minus 15, then let's say it's minus 34. After that, let's say 2, then 5, then this, after that let's say 3 and 4, right, 3 and let's say 0, right. So in this case you can easily observe that with this minus 34, should I check this 5? No, I shouldn't be checking. Why? Because this pair will never give me a minimum difference. The difference will not be let's say the numbers are only positive only, if let's say. So in this case you can see that I'll never be checking this 34 with this 0. Why? Because this is the maximum element, this is the minimum element. Why will I check it? Because the difference is 34 and this is never going to be the minimum difference. Okay, should I check with 17 and 0? No, I shouldn't. Should I check this 5 with the 0? No, I should not. Should I check this 3 with the 0? No, I should not, right? Why? Because all these elements will never be able to give me the minimum difference. What I can do instead is I can sort the array. Once I sort the array, so what, there is an observation that you can see. So if you will sort the array, so you can see that for a particular element, if you sort the array, then all the elements in the array, the adjacent elements in the array will be having a particular property, that is that for this element, let's say for this element at the ith index, its adjacent element towards the left and right, that is I minus 1 index and I plus 1 index element at the I minus 1 and I plus 1th index, will be the elements which will be having the minimum absolute difference, which will be probable for the minimum absolute difference, right? Why? Because if the elements are adjacent to each other, then in that case, if the elements are adjacent to each other, then in that case what will happen is, basically in that case you can observe that the difference will be minimum, right? Because if they are sorted, then the adjacent element towards the left and the right will be having the minimum difference, right? So what you will be doing basically is, you will be first of all sorting the given array. So you will be sorting, let's say you have the given array, so you will sort the given array in ascending order, or you can also sort it in descending order as well. You can sort it in ascending order. After that, what you will be doing is, you will be starting a loop. I starts from 0 and I is less than n minus 1. That is, you will be iterating for each pair, and after that you will check that the difference that you are getting, the difference that you are currently getting, is equal to what? Absolute of, let's say not absolute, you don't need to take absolute since you have sorted. So you can directly take a of arr of I plus 1 minus arr of I, right? So in this way you can check for the adjacent elements, and after that what you will be doing is, my minimum is equal to nothing but minimum of minimum up till now that I've seen, or the difference that I've calculated just now. So in this way I'll be able to calculate the minimum first of all, right? Once I've calculated the minimum, so what will I do? I will find all the pairs that I have to return, right? So since I have to return in terms of vector, so this will be nothing but vector of vector int, let's say result. So in this, what I'll be doing is, in this vector I'll be iterating for the pairs again, I'll be iterating for the adjacent sorted pairs again, right? And I will check one thing. I will check that if array of I plus 1 minus array of I, the difference is equal to the minimum that I have calculated for all the numbers. Let's say if this was 1, 2, 3 and 4, right, and then this was 6, so the minimum difference here is what? The minimum is 1. So what are the pairs that I'll be considering? I'll be considering the pair 1 comma 2, then I'll also be considering the pair 2 comma 3, I'll also be considering the pair 3 comma 4. I'll not be considering 4 comma 6 because it is not, right? So I'll return all these in my final answer, right? So what I'll do is, I'll simply do result dot push back. I'll push back this answer in my result, that is, I'll push back this pair, that is array of I comma array of I plus 1. Notice that I have used the curly brackets to store them as a pair in the vector, right? I've used curly brackets to store arr of I comma arr of I plus 1 to store them in a pair. Now once this is done, so you will close the brackets, and then you will simply return, in the end you will simply return your resultant vector of vectors, right? So does anyone have any doubt in this question? Like, let's say that I take another example. Let's say I am taking an example like 1, then I have 3, then let's say I have 4, then let's say we have 6, then we have 8, after that let's say we have 9, right? So in this you can see that the minimum difference, why we need to sort, the intuition behind sorting is very simple. The intuition is that if you will sort this out, then the element for the ith element, it's the element adjacent, the elements towards its left and the immediate element adjacent towards its right will be the candidate, will be the candidates. The difference will between these two, the minimum, the difference between absolute difference between the left and the current element and the right element and the current element, right adjacent element and the current different element will be the minimum. Why? Because in the sorted it is more probable that you get this answer, right? So in this the minimum is 1. So what I'll do, I'll check the difference between these two is 2, so I'll not put them inside my vector. After that I can see the difference is 1, so I'll put this pair 3 comma 4 in my resultant vector, right? After that what I'll see, I see that 4 and 6, so the difference is 2, so it's not that something that I want, so I'll not put it. After that 6 comma 8, the difference is 2, I'll not put it. Then 8 and 9, 8 comma 9, so I'll put this pair inside my resultant vector. Why? Because I can see that the difference is minimum, the absolute difference between these two is the minimum that I've calculated, so I'll simply put this in my answer as well, right? In the end I'll simply return result, right? And for if someone is wondering how do we make the pairs, so I'm just having a vector of vector int result, so in that I am doing result dot push back and then arr of I, curly brackets open, arr of I comma arr of I plus 1, and after that I'm closing this curly bracket and this curve bracket. After that I'm simply returning the result in the end after I've done all the computations, right? So this was the problem of the day for today, LeetCode daily challenge for today. And for this for doing this, since I am sorting, so talking about the time complexity for this problem will be order of n log n, first of all for sorting, then order of n for doing the traversal, for finding the minimum, right? For finding the minimum difference, right? After that you will be also doing another traversal, that is order of n for another traversal. Why? Because you are for ultimately storing the all the pairs, right? All the pairs, you are finding all the pairs which are having the difference as mi, right? So this will be the time complexity. And the space complexity, talking about the space complexity, so if you are considering that the result that you are returning, if you are considering that as a space, then the answer will be order of, let's say, k, where k is the number of pairs. Otherwise the answer is order of 1. If you don't consider the answer that you are returning, the vector of vectors that you are returning, if you don't consider that space, then it will be order of 1, right? So let me show you the code for this problem. So talking about the code, so you can easily observe that in this problem what I have done is, first of all I have declared a vector of vector int. Then what I have done is I have stored the size, and initially I have made my minimum as int max. After that I have sorted the array. Why sorted? Because if it is sorted, then for the ith element the minimum difference, the chances for the minimum, absolute minimum difference will be its immediate adjacent element towards its left and towards its right, right? After that I have checked for all the pairs, I've calculated what is the minimum difference, minimum absolute difference in the given array between two pairs. After that what I've done is, once that I know that what is the minimum absolute difference, so I've checked for all the pairs that are probable candidates for the minimum difference. I've checked that if arr of I minus arr of I plus 1 minus arr of I is equal to the minimum difference that I have, that is there in the array. So in that case I'll be pushing that particular pair, that is arr of I comma arr of I plus 1 in my resultant vector, and in the end I'll simply return my result. So this was the problem LeetCode daily challenge for today. Also one more thing, you can consider to subscribe our channel, that is Code Era. On this channel we are bringing daily LeetCode challenges, and apart from this we are also covering codeforces editorials, and I am also taking currently I'm taking mastering codeforces sorting problems. So if you are someone who is interested in data structures, algorithms, interview preparation and competitive programming, so you can check our channel channel out, and there are various playlists that are present on our channel, so you can also check them out, like mastering codeforces game theory, codeforces. We also do playlist based on codeforces rounds, and apart from this we also have Google Kickstart solutions video editorials, right? So this was it from my side for today. Thanks a lot everyone for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next one.